Hey, Francisco, how's it going?
Pretty good. Welcome everyone. We're so excited to see everybody today. We have a very special stream with a lot of special guests, some familiar faces along the way. And yeah, thank you all so much for dropping in. I'm seeing Spanky McDoob dropping in here, KG. It was so great to see you at the event last week, and just the different folks from across from India. Matt, who checked in probably like half an hour early. It was great to kind of see that coming in. But yeah, so excited to get started here. Really quickly, for those that are joining for the first time, we're thrilled to have you. This stream will be recorded, so as long as you RSVP'd and sign up to the Luma, you'll be able to essentially get a post email that'll kind of give you the recording, some additional resources, and upcoming events. And we do have some upcoming events. We were so thrilled to see how excited people were for Raymmar's community build on Tuesday. People stayed to the very end. We saw the comments during the stream, after the stream. And we'll be doing another session on Tuesday. More information to come, probably tomorrow, if not maybe on Monday. And then next Thursday, we're brewing some great things together. And there's just, I can't say too much. Manny knows, but there's a lot of things coming next week, and I'm so excited. So with that, I know we have a couple of those special guests here. I'm gonna pass it over to Manny to introduce and move forward from here.
Thank you very much, Francisco. A lot coming down the pipe for next week. We're going to be busy, but stay tuned. We've got you guys covered. We're going to have a ton of great content for you. It's just going to be a very, very fun week. So get ready for that. And really happy with the reception that the most recent streams have been getting. We've been talking a lot about Stripe. People are really excited about this integration, rightly so. The ability to get paid for your vibe coded apps, I think it's just such a game changer. I mean, it's ultimate validation for you to think about if whether or not you're building something helpful and useful. Like if someone's paying for it, like that's great signal. It's a great way to subsidize your vibe coding activities. You know, if you've been doing vibe coding for a while, you know sometimes the bill can rack up a little bit. So getting your apps monetized and getting paid for those apps, really, really great. And we had a great overview of the Stripe Replit integration on Friday. We'll drop the clip to that in the chat. And then on Tuesday, Raymmar went really, really deep, as Francisco mentioned, and he went from an app with no payments to an app that has Stripe fully integrated. And that was an hour and a half, and that was very well received. So what we're seeing is that there's a lot of appetite for everything Stripe and Replit related. And so for today, we thought it would be helpful to bring the team behind the integration on the show and get the behind the scenes type of story on how this integration came together. We have Nilofer Rajpurkar coming on in a bit. She's a product manager at Stripe for covering sandboxes and dev AI. And then we have Replit's very own Saket Ozarkar, who is an engineer here at Replit that worked very close with Nilofer on this integration. So they're going to give us the inside scoop on what's going on. And we also have Raymmar coming back on the stream to tell us about his experience of how he was doing payments and integrations before the Stripe and Replit integration, and now after with the Stripe Replit integration, how different that is. So with that, let's bring Nilofer onto the stage.
Morning, Manny.
Hey, Nilofer, how's it going?
Excited to be here.
Yeah, well, first of all, I just got to give you a big thank you from us here at Replit and also the community on the work that you have been doing on this integration. I'm continually surprised. Like we get so So many great comments on this integration. It's just making people's lives so much easier. So just want to give you a big thank you right out of the gate.
Really appreciate that. It's been awesome working with the Replit team. This functionality is so needed for exactly as you're saying, that next step up for people to really validate their ideas and turn them into ways for them to generate income. And excited to make that much easier for all the Replit builders out there.
Very neat. Before we get into the integration in the sandbox, I just wanted to ask you just a general question. I know a lot of people in the space are kind of thinking about this, but I think it's interesting. Stripe launched in 2010 with the Collison brothers trying to make payments easier for developers. Now, fast forward 2025, they're continuing to make it easy to integrate payments into applications, but now it's for everybody, not just developers, non-technical builders, vibe coders like us here, and Replit, and in particular with this new Replit integration. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about how you see Stripe evolving in this arena where more and more of the code, I think, is going to be generated by agents rather than developers. I mean, obviously, this integration with Replit is a big step in that direction. But in general, how are you thinking about this? How are you thinking about this new landscape over at Stripe?
Absolutely. I work on a team that spends a lot of time thinking about how can we make the developer experience really great for everybody that comes and builds a Stripe integration. And exactly as you're saying, the typical persona of who that person is shifting to more and more non-technical builders, people who can very easily, with tools like Replit, go from an idea to a working app and a working prototype incredibly fast. And so I think one of the things that we really have to think about is just enhancing the entire developer experience there so that we make it easy for agents to debug, fix problems, build the right integrations. So we're thinking deeply about things like our documentation, how we provide instructions and recommendations on the right integrations for an agent to build, and how we make it easy for a user who maybe hasn't written the code themselves to be able to debug an issue and start to figure out where things might be going wrong, as well as what additional things that they may need in their Stripe integration that they may not know about. They may think of like, oh, I just need payments, but we've got a full suite of tools that users can layer on to make the full payments experience really great, and we can help provide that opinion in a world where agents are doing a lot of the building.
That's awesome. So you're adjusting the documentation because now it's not just developers that are looking at it, it's agents, but it's also non-technical people working with and through those agents that are integrating payments into their applications.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've done some work to make sure that our documentation is ready to go to be ingested by LLMs and agents in the right format with the right content, so that when they are coming through and taking a look at our documentation, they know exactly what type of integration they should be building and how to answer questions when someone may ask something about Stripe tax or about payments. All of our documents, our documentation pages are now optimized to be able to provide those right answers back to LLMs.
I love it. And Stripe has always had a great reputation for having great documentations, and now that's just extending over into the agentic world. I wonder if we could talk a little bit about the Replit Stripe integration. So, a big part of this integration is the claimable sandbox. So, I'm wondering if you can break that down for us. A, what is a sandbox? Why is it important? And then B, the claimable part. Why is that an improvement on the user experience?
Absolutely. So actually, we launched sandboxes as a Stripe product earlier this year and made it generally available in the first half of this year. We know that it's incredibly important for anybody building with Stripe to test their payments flows before they actually go live. The worst thing is for you to feel like you're ready to launch your business and then hit some kind of issue, and turns out people who are interested in your product can't actually pay for it. And so we have a sandbox environment to allow people building with Stripe a really simple and easy way to test their payments flows. We provide test card numbers so users can see, okay, what does a successful payment look like? What might a failed payment look like? What is the error I can expect to get back? And what would a buyer see when they hit that? And so we think that part is an incredibly important step in the flow of actually launching a Stripe integration. This sandbox is completely isolated from your live integration. So once you do make that switch switch to launching your Stripe integration, we make sure that everything is completely separated. There's no crosstalk of information between those two environments. Now that is, like we said, a super helpful step. If you've come and signed up directly at Stripe, you get access to that sandbox right away. The keys and everything is ready to go. But as we started to see the shift of how users are entering Stripe, like coming to Replit and saying, I need to build a Stripe integration, we started to see the pain of, okay, come over to the Stripe dashboard, sign up, get the keys, bring it back to Replit. We wanted to see if there was a way we could make that loop tighter so that someone who's coming to Replit can get to that aha moment a lot faster. And that's where we made a shift from the sandbox being ready for you once you come to the Stripe dashboard to actually allowing Replit to create a sandbox for Replit builders. And that's where that claimable piece comes in. So the shift is now that you can be in your Replit experience and say that you need to build a Stripe integration, and Replit will create the sandbox for you and automatically let you start interacting with it. You can start creating your products that you will be selling and setting your prices, and get your whole product suite configured before you've even come over to stripe.com. And then when you're ready, you can actually claim the sandbox and bring all of that work with you to a fully functioning Stripe account, and then do the part that you need to do in terms of providing information to actually go live.
I love that. So me as a vibe coder, one, I had the sandbox where I could just play around and tinker with different variations, because I think there's a lot of creativity in terms of how to bring monetization into a particular app. Like it could be by activity on the user side. It could be by by credits or tokens. You can experiment quite a bit there. You can experiment with how you're billing people, one-time subscription, referrals, things like that. And if you're new to integrating applications, integrating payments into your applications, you want to feel like you have a space where you can just play around and mess around without anything like any serious consequences. And that's where the sandbox is coming into play. And then previously, as you mentioned previously, what you would have to do is you'd have to, before you get into that sandbox, you'd have to go to stripe.com, set up an account, go through KYC, set all that up, and then you get to play. But now with this new improvement, you save that to the end, which makes a lot of sense for me. You still have to do all that to be compliant and to be safe, but it makes sense to have it at the end of my playtime or my creativity time, when I have like clear line of sight on what I'm going to ship, and I'm motivated now. Like, yeah, this app looks great. I've tested it. It looks good. Now like going to Stripe and doing all the compliance stuff, like no problem. I'm happy to do that. Like I'm motivated to do that.
Yeah, exactly. We want to make sure that you can see the full end-to-end vision that you had in your brain actually working before we request all of that additional information from you.
Yeah, that's hugely motivating for me. So we have the claimable sandbox in the Replit integration. What else makes this Replit Stripe integration special in your view?
I think one of the other pieces, Replit is figuring out exactly how to build the Stripe integration for you. We have, a really fully functioned suite of products that you could go choose from, and it can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming. And so we're excited about, Replit taking the recommendations from Stripe in terms of this is how you build a Stripe integration, to be able to build the right shape of that for you, depending on what type of business you're trying to build. Exactly like you said, Manny, there's so many different ways that users can monetize. It can be a direct physical good, or you can come and have some of the more complex and really innovative pricing models with credits and usage-based billing and subscriptions and all of that. And so we're excited to make it easier for a user to reason about what kind of billing model makes sense for them. The other thing that we shipped alongside the Replit team, which I think is really powerful, is a data sync process between Stripe and Replit. So we have objects and all of the data inside of Stripe, and it can be sometimes painful to be able to figure out, okay, when do I need to make sure that my database has that information? How do I get all of that information over? With the data sync work that we did, we are able to now make sure that the database that you have in Replit is instantly up to date anytime you make changes inside of Stripe. So if I were to go in and make a change in terms of the price I was charging for a product, I can stream that change directly to my database in Replit and know that I've got, the source of truth is Stripe, and it's reflected in all the other systems that are relying on that.
That's amazing. That is super helpful. So if I make a change on my Stripe profile, like a change of price on an item, that'll be reflected in my Replit app, and vice versa. Does it go both ways?
Yeah, correct.
That's really, really handy. Yeah, that's very neat. And then I also noticed that as I was trying out the Stripe and Replit integration, that it also handled like very tedious things for me that I wasn't expecting. Like for example, like it made sense that it made it easy for people to sign up for my subscription. But then what about canceling or like changing the subscription plan? I thought I would have to build all that out, but the Replit Stripe integration handled that really nicely and automatically did that for me. So there was an easy way for somebody to cancel, to get a refund. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like also the behind this, the logistical, like more customer service things being built into the applications as well.
Yeah, it's a full life cycle, right? Like it's one thing to say, okay, I helped a buyer get started with the product that I'm selling, but having a satisfying experience for your buyers and the people using your product requires you to take care of them through that entire life cycle. Again, it's no one's favorite issue to hit where they're trying to cancel and they have to reach out to an email address to actually cancel a subscription and get their money back or anything like that. So we know that those are parts of the customer lifecycle that are table stakes for anybody building a payments integration. And so those things should just come out of the box, and the agent, the Replit agent, should just build those pieces in automatically.
Can you talk a little bit about the Stripe products that this Replit integration is working with today? And then maybe also tell us about Stripe Connect and Marketplace and how that is either on the roadmap or different, because we have been getting some questions in our past streams around being able to build Replit apps that connect with Stripe Connect and Marketplace. So maybe you can give us like the overview of the products and then how you think about the roadmap moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like I said, there are so many different ways to monetize and build your business, and Connect is one of those examples. Being able to build a marketplace where you might be having people actually sign up to monetize through your platform that you're building inside of Replit is a business model that you're seeing interest for, and that we want to make sure is supported here as well. Today, it's really easy to get started with monetization models such as one-time payments for physical goods, or just a one-time checkout, or subscriptions type businesses as well, and usage-based type businesses in addition to that. Connect and marketplace type businesses are still possible for you to build with Replit as well. They require a little bit more manual configuration on the Stripe side. So at the point that you make the decision, like that's the kind of business model you want to go with, we do ask that you come over to the Stripe dashboard and enable Connect inside of our dashboard. And it's pretty straightforward, but that just sets some correct things up on your account. And then you can come back to your Replit agent and say, okay, now I'm ready to build a Connect marketplace. Agent can go read our documentation and build the correct Stripe integration that you need there. This is something we're looking to make even better as we continue to improve upon the way Replit and Stripe work together. And hopefully, in the future, you don't need to do that back and forth, and you can just tell Replit agent right away, I want to build a Connect integration and be able to set that up.
Very neat. So if you're trying to do Connect, and is that also extend to Marketplace as well?
Yes.
If you're trying, okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So if you want to build something that's referring to Stripe Connect or Marketplace, just a little bit more manual, hands-on direction that you're going to have with the agent, maybe adding some additional documentation to your conversation and context, things like that. Still possible, but not as seamless as it maybe will be soon.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in our segment when we bring Saket on. Nilofer, thank you so much. Stay on stage with us. I'm gonna bring on Raymmar, one of our more prolific Replit builders, and he's gonna talk to us a little bit about his experience pre Replit Stripe integration and posts and what that looks like. So we're going to bring you back in just a moment, Nilofer. Hang tight.
Awesome. We welcome in Raymmar. I'm seeing a lot of questions about the Stripe integration. We'll be dropping in some links for a previous video we did earlier on Tuesday that kind of goes into the deep dive, with actually hosted by Raymmar. So more to come soon. And with that, Raymmar, so great to have you.
Yeah, it's great to be back. And yeah, excited to chat all about this. Stripe was something else. I was able to get it set up in the original instance that we used it, but the Stripe Connect integration was so good. And so, yeah, I'm happy to chat about any of it. How should we proceed? You want me to just kind of tell the story, or how do you want me to go?
I think for me, Raymmar, would be interesting is you have experience integrating payments into applications pre this Replit Stripe integration. Can you talk a little bit about what that experience was like? And then how is it different now with the new Replit and Stripe integration?
Yeah. So, okay. So my initial use case was for this like community directory. And we have a community in town and we're charging memberships and selling tickets and blah, blah, blah. And it's connected to Luma. Luma's connected to Stripe. All of our billing and everything happens in Stripe. And so I wanted to, in this dashboard, add a little just, visibility for us to see, like, how many members do we have? What's our MRR? Like for memberships, what kind of sponsor? Like, I just wanted like a nice little preview so that we don't have to give people access to like the full Stripe dashboard, but we can give like admins of the community access to some of this stuff. And so I started tinkering, went and created an app in Stripe, just grabbed the API keys, gave them to the agent in the secrets. And from there, I kind of had to manually ask it to do every little thing. Right? I had to ask it what API to reference. I wanted it to pull membership data, and the agent really didn't understand like membership data. So it hard coded the price that I gave it, because I said, hey, it's a $199 price. And so instead of like grabbing the membership data, it just like hard coded the price, and then it multiplied the active subscriptions in Stripe. But it wasn't even pulling from Stripe. It was just pulling from our database that had an active subscription, which again is super great, but it would be better. And this is what happened after the Stripe Connect. That I could have like real-time talk communication with all this. So when you set it up manually, I had to configure all the WebSockets manually. So I had to go into Stripe, set up URLs for WebSockets, give those WebSockets to the agent, and then make sure those were configured properly. And then making sure you're like receiving all of those signals properly is basically how Stripe connects, or Stripe talks to the app. And so like if you're dropping any of those webhooks, I'm sorry, webhooks, I think I said WebSockets, webhooks, then like you don't get the data, you don't get the update, your customer record doesn't get updated, like all these things that are very important don't get updated. And so my back end was like sometimes not in sync, and our dashboard was not very accurate. And so when the Stripe Connect thing came out, I was like, let me see, this is the perfect use case. I went in, it took a little effort to get the agent to like take all the other stuff out and get the new Stripe connection set up. But again, just a little bit of prompting. And afterwards, the dashboard that we have now versus what I had before is so much more accurate. The data is in real time. As soon as anything happens in Stripe, like I'm very confident that it's coming through because of how the connections are set up. So that WebSocket is like very reliable. Actually, some of the other admins kept sending me the emails that we were getting because some of the old WebSocket URLs were failing, but that's because I had switched over to the Connect. And so they're like freaking out saying, oh my God, nothing's working. And it's like, no, don't worry. Everything's working way better. Go check the admin dashboard. And so now we can get a snapshot of everything, every dollar that comes in. We have some graphs and charts and things I'd show you, but I don't want to expose the money on the back end of our organization. But yeah, it's just night and day, before and after. I have to know less. I'm not really thinking about like all the things Stripe can do because the documentation's so integrated. I just kind of ask it and it does it. And so I'm sure there's bugs and hurdles somewhere, but I haven't really run up against them. It's been able to do everything I asked of it. And especially if you watched on the stream Tuesday, we wired up that invoicing thing in like 20 minutes and then spent the rest of the show kind of refining and adding features, even like expense tracking, expense management, like all sorts of cool stuff that the agent just handled. So
how much time do you like if you have to kind of estimate the time that it took you to integrate payments before the integration and after, how would you estimate that?
I kind of just stopped working with it before because I got like the basics of what I needed, and it was fairly painful. And I was like, right, I'm just not going to push this a whole lot. But then afterwards, once I got the Stripe Connect working, we're talking an hour or two. I rebuilt the whole dashboard, and it like fully like fully scoped out. I mean, a payment comes in, it's in that dashboard almost in real time. And so, yeah, just
And
night
not
and
to
day.
mention that it's a much smoother user experience rather than you going out and copy pasting documentation and watching agent going back, rollbacks and all that. It happens seamlessly. And even from the time perspective, it's a cost savings as well, because if you spend 3 hours going back and forth with agent, putting in context and chat, those are tokens that you're burning versus the current integration, which is like almost instantaneous, and you get a much
Yeah.
better, smoother experience. So it's much more powerful, as you mentioned. It's real time, as Nilofer mentioned, real time data sync. It's much smoother user experience, and overall, it's cheaper to implement. I mean, win-win, all hands down.
Yeah, and I haven't even tested the full boundaries of this. I'm getting excited because we're going to do another one next week. That's going to be more of like a SaaS payment gateway rather than before we build this like invoicing portal. And so I'm really interested to just keep pushing this thing and see how far it can go. But yeah, it's again, as long as you can structure your prompts properly, because the agent's not just going to know exactly what you want to do. So you still have to communicate properly to it. This isn't like a magic wand you can wave and like, bring me money from Stripe. This is not how it's going to work. You still have to kind of like prompt it properly and set up everything properly. And I saw some questions actually about the sandbox configuration. So maybe we can just spend a second talking about that. I don't know if that's in the cards, or if we want to bring in the rest. I don't know. I don't want to mess up your flow, but
Yeah, let's save that for the Q&A. We're gonna have a Q&A segment
okay, great.
after we talk to Saket and to Nilofer. Cool. Raymmar, thank you so much. We're gonna bring in Saket, but everybody, Raymmar did an amazing live build session on Tuesday. We'll drop the recording to that in the chat, and we're gonna continue to have those live builds with Raymmar. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, Raymmar.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
y'all.
All right. Hey, welcome back, Nilofer, and welcoming to the stage. I'm welcoming Saket Ozarkar. How's it going? He's a software engineer here at Replit. Big thanks to Saket as well for all of his help in setting up this integration. Saket, you want to take a moment to say hi to everybody and maybe introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, good morning. I'm Saket. I'm software engineer on the product engineering team at Replit, and I work on all things payments and billing. Really excited to be here and talk about our Stripe integration, and happy to answer anything you want to know.
Great to have you here. And this is a question for Saket and Nilofer. Can you maybe walk us back to the start of this integration? Where did this kick off? I mean, obviously there's like a great reception that we're getting now, but like early on, how did you start thinking about this collaboration? How did that kick off?
Yeah. Honestly, this started with a simple observation. Uh, on Replit, we kept seeing users building SaaS products, tools, bots, games, but they hit this wall where, hey, I have this app built. How do I get paid? Uh, we had this old Stripe blueprint with agent, which had a lot of friction points, and it was difficult to set up. So uh, we were thinking, how can we make this experience as smooth as possible and make sure our users can go from idea to a monetized app on Replit without knowing anything about payments or billing and how all of these things are set up. Stripe is by far the best in payments, and Replit is best in building apps with agent, and you just talk in natural language. So we thought it was like a perfect match where Stripe handles the payments and Replit abstracts the complexity of integrating payments into apps. So that's where it all started, and I think with claimable sandboxes, we were able to get that experience out to our users and make sure this entire integration is extremely robust and can handle like different use cases like one-time checkout, subscriptions, even usage-based billing. So it was an amazing experience. Nilofer, if you want to add anything new.
Yeah, it was a really great experience working with Saket and the rest of the Replit crew. you all know exactly the pain points that your builders are hitting as they're going through the Replit experience, and that was super helpful for us to be able to actually co-design what should this really great DX look like together. Where can we take things that already exist in Stripe or figure out what new things should exist, such as claimable sandboxes, to improve the overall journey of actually putting payment support into your Replit apps and projects.
Very neat. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about sandbox versus production. We've been getting this question in the streams as of late. As someone's moving from a development environment and working with their sandbox, and then they're looking to deploy that into production, do you have any suggestions in terms of how to test that, and any common mistakes or any tips that you would offer up as people are trying to go from a development environment to something that's deployed and actually generating money for them?
Yeah, sure. So Sandbox is basically your test environment where you develop your product. Previously, if anyone has used our old Stripe blueprint, you had to connect your live Stripe account directly when you are developing, which is kind of risky and can mess up things on your account. So we came up with this. So Stripe came up with this approach called claimable sandbox, where you can test things uh, in in that test environment with virtual money. Uh, it is exactly same as Stripe Live account, except there is no real money transactions happening. You can create products, prices. You can set up subscriptions. You can have like Stripe checkouts, web events, all of the cool stuff that Stripe provides, and agent and robust to support different use cases. Uh, there are some common mistakes that I see today with our users is in development environment you are supposed to use like test cards, but sometimes people expect like real card payments to work in sandbox. But Stripe provides like some test cards which you can easily test on Stripe checkout pages. Another thing I see is there are different types of API keys that Stripe provides. There is something that's publishable key, and then there is secret key. Uh, when you are developing, agent kind of abstracts all these concepts, but when you want to go and publish your app today, you need to provide those two keys from your live account. And sometimes people changes the order, or they don't know where to get those keys. Today it's more the experience is more of you need to go on your Stripe account. You need to create your Stripe account, go through the KYC process, verify your business, and then once you have your live account, you can get those two keys from your API developer dashboard on Stripe, and you paste those keys back into Replit on our publishing pane. And once you submit those, then you can go and deploy your application. Uh, there are some more mistakes that I've seen is how do you, if once you have the connection, if users want to update that connection, uh, people sometimes gets confused like how do I do that, or if they want to delete the connection or create a new one, how that process looks like. We updated our docs recently, but we have a separate app connection management page for it, where you can just go and delete extensions and hey, I want to rebuild the entire thing again, so connections at that point.
That's very neat. And you mentioned what you mentioned earlier. I think is worth repeating. Is as you're looking to deploy your app to production, when you go to publish in Replit, it's going to ask you for two keys that you're going to get from Stripe, and you just have to be very mindful that you're putting the right keys in the right slot, because one of those keys might be exposed to the web. So if you put in the wrong key in there, that might get exposed, and so you just want to be very careful about putting those in the right spot. That's a good tip. Any other tips from a security standpoint, like I said, that's a good tip right there, but like security for vibe coders, like anything else that comes to mind that people should just be like mindful of?
Yeah, I think the Stripe integration kind of abstracts all those things and take care of things like you don't want to expose your secret keys in client-side code. You should keep your payment logic on server and use the connector, which kind of uh, makes it convenient to store your API keys securely on backend, and you don't have to worry about how to manage those keys. Uh, it the integration also handles validating and verifying the webhook events, which is super important from the security perspective. Uh, and then I think another tip is Stripe. Like Stripe hosted pages like Stripe Checkout. I think they handle most of the security stuff which are required for payments. I think Nilofer can talk more about it. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd say one of the other security considerations, which was actually part of the design of this integration, is supporting Stripe MCP and what kinds of actions an agent should take versus what kinds of actions you should allow to happen with your Stripe publishable key. There's a Stripe MCP server that you can use, which has a narrower set of actions than is possible with our API, and you want to be very careful, what kinds of actions you let an agent take, especially as it comes to moving money and handling funds. And so there's a separate key actually for an agent to be able to interact with MCP, so that you can stay safe and not have an agent go rogue and do anything that you wouldn't want with your funds.
Super helpful tips. Saket, can you talk a little bit about the process of training agent to use Stripe? And obviously the documentation, but like, are you like giving it any additional prompting, or I guess what are you doing to make sure that agent is following the right directions and it's going to create a great user experience for our users?
Yeah. To make this integration robust, I think you need to teach agent about this Stripe integration and how it should be used. So whenever you see that, whenever you ask agent, hey, I want to build a payment system, or I want to add like a subscription business in my app, uh, the first thing that agent needs to know is what kind of integrations are available and whether Stripe is the right fit for it. So you need to teach agent to look for those and then recommend user, hey, you should go and use Stripe. A lot of things happen when you go and connect to Stripe. It's you approve agent to use Stripe integration for your application, and then agent has to figure out how to rightly integrate all the setup that is required for that integration to work correctly. Certain things need to happen in specific order. For example, first you need to go and create the claimable sandbox. Once you have the sandbox, you need to go and store the API keys securely on server. uh, then agent needs to know at what point you should create a database and what kind of schema that database should have, what kind of tables that it requires, and then make sure there is right syncing setup between your database and Stripe dashboard. We want to make sure whatever changes happen on Stripe dashboard gets reflected in your database. Similarly, if users interact with your app, those changes should be synced as well. Uh, then another thing is webhooks. That's the main driver of this integration, is uh, how you validate, how you write secured code where webhook events are actually verified and validated on server. Uh, all these things agent needs to know, and you have to prompt explicitly, like if something happens, if certain event comes in, what action you're supposed to take. Another thing that's very important for agent is to have some guardrails. You don't you don't want agent to go rogue and delete your important money related stuff. So we don't allow agent to directly update Stripe related database schemas. We we explicitly tell agent not to do any destructive actions like any delete calls. Uh, Whenever user wants to do something like that, its agent always recommends, hey, these are the steps, these are the manual steps you need to take care, you need to go and do on your own. So there is no case where agent just goes and delete your connection or delete your sandbox. So you need to have those guardrails taught to the agent.
That makes a ton of sense. Nilofer, I'm wondering if you can talk to us about how this integration gets better. So we've already seen a great response from the community and from builders. Really love this integration. How do you think about the roadmap? How is this going to get even better for Replit and Stripe users?
Well, one way we can know how to make things better is from hearing from all your builders. So I'm seeing a lot of chatter in the chat. That feedback is super helpful for us. So continue to provide that so we can figure out how to make this integration even better. But there are a couple of things that are already top of the mind for ways that we can continue to improve. Certainly, like we mentioned a bit earlier, helping builders build connect marketplaces and connect integrations is something that we're going to be working on in the future. And then, like Saket said, there is a little bit of friction still when you are looking to say, okay, I've built everything that I need in this sandbox. I'm ready to launch my business. I'm ready to go live. And so right now we're still requiring that you go into the Stripe dashboard and find those API keys to go live, like Saket was mentioning. And so that whole go live experience is something that we're trying to improve significantly. So you can focus on building your product, building your idea, and Stripe and Replit together can take care of helping you actually launch and hit that point.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And it's part of the reason why we love doing these streams. We get to hear directly from users. And so, yeah, as you're commenting, as you're dropping in your suggestions, what you like about the integration, what problems you're having, you're helping us make this even better. So continue to do that. Um, Nilofer and Sakana, one question that we got from past streams is around international payments. We have a ton of international users, maybe like 50% of our chat right now is overseas. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about using Stripe in those cases, things like VAT, foreign currencies, maybe countries that Stripe supports at different levels. Maybe talk at a high level for your guidance for vibe coders on that front.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a product that we're working on right now that's actually in private preview that I'd encourage folks to go check out. It's called Stripe Managed Payments. You can go check it out in Stripe Docs. And this is meant to get at that exact problem, right? Being able to handle VAT and all the taxes on being able to take your business global from day one can be a lot to try and figure out. It's not just the integration piece of it, but it's also all of the compliance regulation and how all of that works. And so Stripe's trying to figure out how we can abstract some of that away from you and handle all of that on your behalf. So go check out Stripe Managed Payments, and you can express interest in that private preview, so that Stripe handles those pieces for you, and removes one less thing that folks have to think about.
So Stripe Managed Payments, that's in private. Maybe we can we'll either try to put a link to that in the chat, or we'll include it in our follow-up email. So if you've signed up, if you've RSVP'd via Luma, you'll get a link to that, because I know that's been coming up quite a bit in the chat. And then Saket, on our end, does that change anything? Are you is there any way that somebody should be prompt an agent if they are in international or using some other currency other than US dollar? Or are you thinking about changing that or updating an agent in that respect?
So there are two parts to it. One is during development when you get your sandbox. Right now it's defaulted to US, so you get all your payments in dollars. But if you want to change that, you just need to log into your sandbox, go to the billing settings, and you can change your country to whatever country you like in your sandbox, and then you can start testing things that currency. Once you go live, I think what Nilofer said, Stripe managed payments might solve that issue. Right now, agent is not optimized to support those use cases, but I'm pretty sure agent is super smart to figure things out, and it can refer to Stripe documentation. It has a browser tool which makes agent go and search Stripe docs uh, and figure things out on its own. You might need some prompting to get these advanced features working with your app, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these things agent can help you figure out how to set up. Maybe you need some kind of manual steps to set this advanced tooling. Given some of these tools don't have APIs on Stripe side, but you can give it a shot and try things out with agent.
Very neat. The other question that we've been getting, or like some issues that people have been having, is initiating the connector with agents. Sometimes it doesn't pick it up. I think it's a couple happened in just a few cases. Um, and one clarifying point here that we've talked about, Saket, is to make note that you're not on a Teams or Enterprise plan, because those plans do not have access to the connector. So if you're in a Teams plan or Enterprise plan, you're not going to be able to initiate the Stripe connector. So just be mindful of that. If you're in a free or core plan, you do have access to it. And if agent doesn't pick up that initial request for the connector, Saket, any guidance in terms of troubleshooting to kind of re-engage agent to make sure it picks it up?
Yeah, I think the most common pattern that I've seen is people are in their Teams plan and Teams account, and they try to set up the Stripe integration. But if you are in your core account, and if you face this issue, uh, there are two ways. One is using the slash command, so you can explicitly tell agent, hey, I want to integrate Stripe with my app. So we have this feature called, you just type slash and the list of all the connectors shows up in your agent input. You can select Stripe from there. uh, and if that doesn't work, there are sometimes issues with agent not being able to pull up some of the connectors. But if you try again, it's most likely going to pick it up. uh, Another pattern that I've seen is when you start with a prompt, you get into the plan mode, where the most important thing to note is agent searching for Stripe integration. And when you see the plan under integrations, if there is Stripe, you have uh, you don't have to worry that if that pop-up doesn't show up in the plan phase, uh, there is a chance agent might first complete designing your application and then start the backend work. At that time, it will always pop up that dialog to connect to Stripe. So those are some of the patterns that I see today.
Awesome, awesome. I'm seeing a bunch of great questions in the chat. I want to get to them, but first, I've got to say, people were really happy to hear that there was no additional charge on Replit's side for Stripe payments. So it's pretty much just what you would pay for Stripe. That's what you're going to pay if you're working through Replit Agent. Nilofer, can you talk a little bit about that? Why that's important, and why you decided to go down that route?
Yeah, joint decision between the teams at Replit and Stripe, but we want to provide the value of getting started with payments without necessarily passing on an upcharge there. The power of Replit is to get you started with a fully functioning Stripe integration. And you could figure that out if you went to stripe.com and did all the work manually, but Replit's going to get you there much faster, and so we didn't necessarily want to pass on any kind of upcharge on that. You're getting the sticker pricing that is on our website. So whether you come in through stripe.com or you start with Replit, you're getting the standard pricing.
I love it. Let's take some questions from the audience. Nilofer, it's a bit of a tough one here, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But LLM integrated agentic checkouts seems like a big market. I also saw another question around voice activated payments. So, like, these ways of people to check out, in an agentic type of form. Like, I know we touched a little bit at the on it on top of the show, but like any other thoughts you drop here?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of work happening here. We have earlier this year we made an announcement of being able to you check out a product directly in ChatGPT. So there are a lot of work happening here, a lot of new ground being broken, and Stripe is excited to be at the forefront of that, and work with merchants and sellers to make that buying experience with an agent in the middle as best as it can be and as safe as it can be.
Very neat, very neat. Yeah, very excited about that. I feel like it's a brand new world for everybody, where like most of the code is going to be written by agents. Then you have multi-agent systems, and then pretty soon, like agents now are going to have access to the web. We're going to be doing all like the shopping for folks. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Stripe handles that. Very cool. Someone's asking here about whether or not there is a Stripe MCP that's available. I think we touched on it a little bit, Nilofer, but maybe you want to talk about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, there is a Stripe MCP server that's available. You can check that out in our docs as well. And we can send a link for that through here as well. There is a curated set of list of actions. Like we said, we want to make sure that agents are taking safe actions when it comes to handling money on your behalf. And so there's a curated set of actions that are available there. We have seen a lot of folks starting to integrate MCP into their integrations. We're going to continue to add actions that are supported by our agent, as well as continue to add layers of security and peace of mind for anybody who is using an agent. So as we think about some more riskier actions, how do we make sure that there is a human in the loop who is saying, yes, I approve moving this amount of money or taking this kind of action. So continue to make sure that we're balancing ease and things that an agent can do for you with security of your money in mind.
And here's a question that we get quite a bit. Can you build apps that use a per use charging or subscriptions? And yes, you can build apps that can charge a user per activity, or could do subscriptions, or can do one-time payments as well. Raymmar demonstrated that on Tuesday. Those are the big ones that come to mind, Nilofer and Saket. Any other ones that you're seeing, like any other different, I guess, payment patterns? There's one-time payments, subscriptions, and on a per-use basis.
I think the most common that I've seen is subscriptions and one-time checkouts, something like e-commerce kind of websites. Agent can build usage-based billing type of businesses, but you need some kind of prompting. Another thing that to note here is at the time of publishing, Replit provides you a feature to sync your sandbox product catalog to your live account, which I feel is pretty cool feature to have, because imagine this, like you build your e-commerce and you have like 100 200 products built in your sandbox to test your different flows, and now you want to move these products back to your live account. If there is no sync, then you need to go do this manually, like go to Stripe, copy. I don't know whether Stripe allows that today, but you need to copy each product, set up the product and the corresponding price in your live account. Replit handles that for you today. Like you just need to set the toggle to sync, and whatever you have created in your sandbox, it gets copied to your Stripe live account. One caveat to this is if you are building like usage-based billing, right now we don't copy the meters in Stripe. We just do the products and prices. So if you are building like usage-based billing kind of a use case, then you need to set up your meters in your live account.
Very neat. I think I wanted to bring up this comment again because this is what we're seeing quite a bit. Nilofer is Nerd Techie here saying he's not a developer, but he was able to create an app for his youth basketball organization in roughly 20 hours. So not only is this person with no development, no technical background is able to build their own custom app, they're doing it in less than a day, and they're having fun doing it. So I think that's just a testament to the work that you all have built out. So thank you so much.
It
I
really
did
has
have
been one of the most fun times to be a builder, Manny. Like, some days it feels like we're living in the future.
yeah, absolutely. Seen those types of comments quite a bit. Let's see here. I had another question that I wanted to bring up. Yes, there was a question around, and maybe Saket, this is more for you, but if someone has already implemented the past Stripe integration or the past Stripe blueprint in a Replit app, what's the best way to switch over to the new Replit connector or new Replit integration?
Yeah, I've seen these cases through our support channels, and the best way to do that is you ask agent to remove the old Stripe integration code. It is able to do that in one go, and then you uh, ask agent to, with maybe with slash command, ask it to add the new connect Stripe connector, and then it takes it from there and set up the sandbox and does all the webhook handling and stuff.
Very neat. So it's just a matter of prompting agent like, hey,
Yeah.
like I want to remove the previous integration of Stripe, and then let's just like add a new integration with the Stripe connector. Question here: how would you switch to this model if you're using the? Okay, perfect. The old Stripe. That's the question that we just had. Very neat. Any other questions that I'm missing here, Francisco?
Saved a few.
Or any other big
couple-
themes that are coming up?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are being answered. Thank you so much, everybody. And then I'm going to drop in a link for some of the deeper dives that Raymmar did earlier on Tuesday. So check out a link there. Yeah, so that'll be coming up pretty soon. I think a lot of the ones that I'm seeing here have been answered. But yeah, I saved a couple more, Manny, if you want to take a look. But it's looking pretty good. Thank you all so much.
Perfect. We're running a little bit behind schedule here. Very neat. So, we're going to continue to roll out this content. Thank you so much, Nilofer and Saket, for joining us and giving us the behind the scenes look on how this integration came together. I just want to thank both of you so much. Like, as you can see in the comments, people are really loving this integration. And for me as a vibe coder, like I've been vibe coding for a time. I got like 100 different apps, and not very many of them are monetized because it's been so painful. And now I feel like at least I have to try to monetize one out of every 5 apps that I build to help subsidize the token usage for all the other apps and keep my hobby afloat. And so now, it has to be painful, but now with this new connector, like as you can see, people are having fun doing this. Like, not only is it easy, cheaper and more efficient, but people are having fun. So like, how often do you get that in a new feature? That's amazing. So Nilofer, Saket, I just wanted to thank you so much for all of your work. Let people know how they can connect with you. Any last thoughts you want to share with the audience?
Super excited to see all the cool projects and businesses people will launch with this. And yeah, like we mentioned, excited to continue to hear feedback and continue to make the Stripe integration in Replit even better as we head into the new year.
How can people follow you, Nilofer? What's the best way? Is that LinkedIn, X?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn and X as well. So I think handles are in the announcement for this. So yeah, happy to answer questions on those platforms.
Cool. Saket?
Yeah, I'm surprised to see all the creativity from our youth they are building today. It's really cool. The power that they get with Replit Agent and Stripe. Yeah, if you have any questions and want to reach out, I'm active on X and on LinkedIn. I think you already have the links here.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Nilofer, Saket. Looking forward to having you on the show again sometime very, very soon. We'll chat soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Woo, that was fun. It's
Yeah.
really nice getting
Nice.
the behind the scenes look on these things and how they come together. I mean, Stripe, Replit, like Stripe, the payments platform out there, they're huge, but they're acting so nimble, so fast, and then getting to work with startups like Replit and building out this new integration. I just, as a technology buff, I just find that very interesting. And the fact that you have this new agentic world that's coming together, and you have like this like really large company and Stripe and trying to navigate that. I don't know. I love this stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's great to have everyone back. One of the things that we didn't touch upon that I really loved about the Stripe team is they actually flew out to the Replit office and they were hunkered down here for like a week, and like it was incredible to see just all the work that was being done, like the feedback they were collecting. A huge shout out to our ambassador community as well that helped kind of test some of the early versions of it. Cloud the Boy was on there. Raymmar, obviously, Eric and Andrew. So a huge thanks to them. More information to come on that as well soon. But truly a huge thanks to the Stripe team. And again, to just the community and everyone dropping in their feedback. The reason we built that out was because we were seeing your feedback coming in. We were seeing kind of the pain points that you were facing, and both Stripe and Replit wanted to make sure that was a much easier, workflow in, coming up. So yeah, thank you all so much.
What's next, Francisco? So first of all, we'll have a follow-up email. We're gonna link to everything, the socials, the playbacks to previous Stripe stuff, and we're gonna continue to do more Stripe content, I'm sure. But do you want to give anybody do you want to give folks a preview of what we have planned for next week?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So first things first, we will be coming back with Raymmar next Tuesday. We'll be doing another deep dive, and kind of continuing off where we left off last week. More to come on that very soon. It was very popular, and I've dropped in a couple of links in the chat. So for anyone that really wants kind of like a deeper dive, sort of doing a Stripe integration, doing it on their own, and just kind of want to follow along with somebody, that is a great kind of resource. We'll be sending it out in the email afterwards. Also, later by the end of next week, we'll be sharing a little bit more about the ambassador program. I've been talking about it on and off for a couple of weeks now. It's been invitation only, but we want kind of a little bit more public, just so folks can learn more about it. And if you're a big Replit user, you love using Replit. I see KG in the chat, who's been to our events, who's been on the chat like for the past couple of weeks. Like we want to get to meet you. We want to support you. So more information on that coming very soon. On KG's comment, the emergency live stream. So I am so sorry we're not going to have the emergency live stream tomorrow on Friday, but next week, all I can say is going to be very packed. Replit is one of the only places that I've ever been to where launches don't really get delayed; they get kind of pushed up. And this is the one time where I think we're gonna spend a little bit more time to kind of like really make it, really polish it up. And there's a lot coming next week. I'm very excited. So there may be some emergency live streams next week. For now, we're just going to have one on Tuesday and Thursday, but who knows? There might be more coming along the way very soon. But check out that email with more information, resources, upcoming events, live streams, and also the ambassador program very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So pumped for what's coming next week. I think all of you will be surprised and impressed, and I think we'll have that emergency live stream maybe Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see. But just stay tuned. Follow us on social. And we have that Luma event schedule as well, so follow that as well, and you'll get our emails too. So don't worry about missing it. It's gonna be fun. You'll be there.
Fantastic. Can't wait to see you all soon.
Very neat. Well, thank you again, everybody. Thanks again for your chat. It makes it so much fun to have you chatting and sharing your feedback. Thank you to our special guests, Nilofer and Saket. And again, next week, Tuesday, new live build with Raymmar. I'm going to be there. I always learn something new. So looking forward to seeing you there. See you later.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's maybe bring back to everybody from the guests just to give one final goodbye from the team and everyone else.
Oh, you want to bring people back?
Oh, sure. Just say goodbye to everybody. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining, everybody. Really appreciate it. And again, thank you so much to the Stripe team, Raymmar and Saket for being a part of this.
Thank you, everybody.
Right on.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah. See
Bye-bye.
ya.
Bye, everyone.